We're such lucky guys, my cameraman Thijs and myself, having this great weather. It's early May, spring, beautiful weather, 25 degrees or so, and we have a Boston Whaler 220 Dauntless with us. Let me take you on board, and as usual I'd like to start off at the bow. This being a relatively luxurious Boston Whaler, you can see that there's attention to detail. But let me start off by saying that I truly like this bow area with regards to the setup. This is a big difference, for example, with the Montauk family, where you have a different setup with a relatively simple cooler, which works fine, by the way. But this, being able to sit and lounge here in this way, by the way, I'm 1.92 m, so you can see that even for tall people like myself, this is a great place to sit. But I love this setup. This sun lounge is great. There's storage underneath, I'll show you. But of course there's also this bow area where you can have these cushions. There's also place underneath, but again I like to start off at the bow. And what I always like and find very practical on boats is having a bow roller. I don't even need a windlass. Here in the Netherlands, average depth in the water is maybe 5 meters or so. So having a relatively simple yet practical bow roller, I think is really good. And that is a good option at this Boston Whaler 220 Dauntless, because you can use a proper anchor, just a line, and you can detach everything, put it in the storage area in the anchor locker below me. So it keeps it still relatively simple, clean. So I think a good solution. There's a cleat obviously here at this point. There's two in the center of the boat on the side, and there's two in the aft. So 5 full stainless steel 316 quality cleats. A proper size, so not small, really good ones. And you may notice this. This is used for a sun awning, which is an option also here in the bow area, where you can put in poles here as supports for the sun awning, which is an option, and I think very practical on beautiful days such as today if you want to be sheltered from the sun. Non-skid, of course, here in the bow area, and a nice railing. Really nice welding also, you hardly see the welding. These, I would call them recessed cup holders, also made out of stainless steel. It's a nice touch having them integrated in this deck section. I forgot to mention there's even 2 more cleats, because obviously there's 2 here. So there's 7 actually on this particular boat. There's non-skid here, which works as a step-on also, as you can see, like this. There's rod holders here. And of course, there's an anchor locker underneath here, which drains overboard. A stainless steel gas strut. I always like the finish on Boston Whaler, which is second to none. Having this lid also in the gel coat finish, and also the inside, which has the big advantage that it keeps clean, and if it doesn't, it is easy to clean. I often see center console boats which are 10 years old or so, where you have this rough fiberglass, which is where they apply a top coat finish, but it remains rough, and dirt at everything, and everything gets well in the way basically, and makes it dirty and not so easy to clean. That doesn't happen with the Boston Whaler. Nice cleats, all stainless steel hinges, finishes, and also I like these things that the water doesn't get in all too easy. And what I also like is having hinges which are recessed like this. It's just a nice detail. Talking about detail, Boston Whalers are known to last a lifetime, and that applies for a lot of things, but also these cushions, for example, because they are made in a way that on the bottom side they ventilate lightly, which means that if water would come in, they tend to dry also. So these cushions are made out of top quality material and made in a way that they are easy to get away. Just having this option is something simple. Having this to easily attach them with your thumb is, well, just practical details which shows the experience that Boston Whaler has. Double stitching, always nice and good if you want to keep your cushions well, nice also for the long term. I often see boats which are 10 years old or more where the sides here get damaged. That doesn't happen that quickly with the Boston Whaler because of this double stitching. And I also like this patterning here, which gives it a bit more luxurious feel. Let me show you the storage underneath. Also here, nice gel coat finish, keeps it clean, a stainless steel gas strut, and let me also indicate this kind of gasket right here, which keeps the water out in combination with this here, this area. The water drains off like this, and there's a support for a table right here, which you can attach in the center in this bow area so that you have a nice area to socialize, have a drink. Again, cup holders on each side. Speakers, by the way, of the optional audio system. There's two more in the back, which I'll come to later. Again, rod holders right there. And let me turn around also and show you the enormous storage area underneath the sun lounge. And before I do that, here's the table. And this area is great for storage of, for example, fenders. There's a cover that may be the sun awning I talked about. And something nice also about the storage area is that you can store your rods or other long items. There's an example right here. I think this is the, these are the supports for the sun awning, by the way. But this is as an example because they slide into that area right there, going into the console where you also have a toilet. But again, this I think is a great storage area. Notice also the small mud on the bottom right there, which lifts items from the floor, which is good if they are kind of wet because the water drains out in the long term and you don't get mildew and stuff like that. Again, it's the attention to detail, practical solutions that Boston Whaler is famous for. There's small soft deck here to put some things here in a gentle way, I would say. Stainless steel gas struts, also a lid here in combination again with this solution. So a fantastic storage area, which is lockable also, as you can see on the hinge, on this piece right there. High backrests, nice armrests, further cup holders on each side. They are drained, so if you leave your boat in the marina and water tends to come in and you come back after a couple of weeks, they are still clean and dry. There's places to hang on to. On each side there's a grab rail like this. There's a further speaker right there. So I am making a mistake. There's a speaker there on the other side and there's two in the back. I also like the walk around concept of these boats. And I'm not the tallest guy, but you can see that I can walk here easily, turn around. It just makes it feel very roomy, very practical. And there's a solution to have a small toilet. As you can see, there's a porta potty there. Let me also show you that people like myself can get in and out relatively easy. There's a bit more room here made in a way that they have increased the area where you get out with your shoulders. Here you see the support for the table in the bow. And this again is where the rods or these, they are for the sun awning, the supports can get into this console to, well, offer you storage for longer items. This is for the GPS. So here you put in the SD card for the navigation. There's a SIM rod, I'll show you later. And this is obviously the ignition. I think it's a good way to put it right here because you don't have keys hanging around on the steering console. They're sheltered here, protected. There's a small light here. So a simple, not too big, but very practical console. Lockable also, as you can see here. This boat has been equipped with the optional T-top. Let me turn this around. This is a sold boat, so we're actually happy to be able to use it. Customer allowed us to do that. But we tend to sell most of our Boston whalers without this T-top because of bridges and because of Dutch people appreciating that they finally feel the sun, because our climate doesn't always offer us sun, but that would be a reason to have it without the optional T-top. This one has it, giving you shelter from the elements, which obviously has its advantages. The console right here, they have done the finish in this tan color, which I really like because it's less reflective. True white, if it's a very sunny day, has the disadvantage that you, well, can get blinded because of the enormous amount of light. So very practical. I love this steering knob, by the way. This is just such a simple thing, but very practical when maneuvering in the marina. Steering wheel can be tilted. There's switches with circuit breakers here. 12-volt reversible. There's USB. I think normal and normal and USB-C right there. And what I also love is this wireless charging pad. Very practical, very easy. Soft decking again right here. Nice compass. The new Simrad NSX. Obviously there are some choices you can make with regards to navigation. You could also have a VHF installed. There's a glove box on this side. I seem to remember by heart that you can, well, this is an option. You can have either one screen and the glove box, or no glove box, or two navigation screens. There's different solutions. This is the audio. This is a, basically this is used for the engine to have an instrument which always reads the engine info. The engine, by the way, being a Mercury, either V6 or V8, comes standard with VesselView Mobile, with which you can connect via an app, works via Bluetooth. A great app with which you can read all kinds of data on your engine. You could also use a, let me take off my sunglasses in the meantime. You can also set up a lock and even install your preferred supplier, I would call it, so that your service company could also read the number of hours on your engine from a distance, so that they can give you a proper advice on the service that needs to be done. There's trim tabs, which I think are optional. Cup holders, again, also drained overboard. There's a small light here. This is something practical. You can have a light which is in white, it's obviously LED, but also in red, which can be really practical if you drive at night. People driving often at night know what I'm talking about. White lights tend to blind yourself, and if you want to look around you, a red light offers you the advantage of still being able to see things, but not being blinded and having a better overview of the things around you. There's this small netting right here, which is also something I appreciate, because you always have things like life vests, maybe even charge or whatever. This is simple storage, but very practical underneath this cover. So a very practical and simple solution. Let me also point out the ergonomics on any Boston whaler. And what I always like is that they always try to find the optimal solution. And as you can see, the angle of this backrest is made in just the right way. This is the relaxing position. And now you have a secondary footrest right here, which is angled. You have non-skid. There's a primary footrest right here, which you use if you use this as a leaning post in this position. This is what I probably will be using this position while driving later on. This is what I like, and you're protected. You have a proper leaning post at just the right height, and you are protected and more or less blocked in rough conditions because you have this really good, slightly angled footrest. Non-skid obviously everywhere. And going further back, of course the leaning post also has storage underneath. Let me also point out the ease of opening this up. This small ledge, stainless steel gas strut, gasket again. And this has a live well inside, it can also be used for storage. Two further cup holders, which are used if you do some socializing in the aft area, which can be done because you have these great aft quarter seats, which I love because this makes them really simple. You can leave them like this, you don't need a cover or anything. You just fold them up like this. And again, also here, high backrest, proper seat bases, nice cushions, nice finish, proper stainless steel hinges. This is a nice social area. Again, cup holders, rod holders right here, and the towing pole, which is optional of course, but very practical if you do a lot of towing, either people on water skis or wakeboards or on the tube or whatever. I also love if you fold these down that you have this big bathing platform, making it easy to get on and off the boat, but also if you are into fishing, use it as a casting platform. So really nice and practical. Let me also point out the side rails on this side. They are relatively high, giving you shelter. Then again, they stop here. So if you have a low dock, for example, you could leave or access the boat from here, making it easy. Whereas this would be maybe too high. And also here, there's an open position to get on and off the boat. So attention to detail, very practical things that Boston Whaler thought of. The swimming ladder is right underneath this small edge here with 4 steps, as you can see, relatively wide. So really comfortable to get in and out of the water with. Let me also protect it like this so that we don't lose it later on. Again, non-skid everywhere. There's a V8 250 horsepower behind this boat, which I think is the ideal combination for this 22-foot Boston Whaler, which I think actually is slightly over 23 foot. So it's slightly bigger. But I love the V6 engines of Mercury, but also the V8. There's a difference between the V6 and the V8, with the V8 having the advanced midsection, making the engine smoother, more quiet, and also there's plenty of power. You don't always need it, but if you're aboard with 8 people or so, you can still get onto the plane easily. So I love this setup with the V8 250 horsepower outboard. This is a wide one. Most of our customers tend to choose the wide one because of, well, of course, aesthetics. It is a matter of taste, but also salt and chalk you don't see as quickly as on a black outboard. There's hydraulic power assisted steering. I love this relatively clean installation also. And of course, technical things are always accessible. So you see a hatch here with which, going underneath, you can access the steering pump, for example, or other things you would want to use. I also love this simple setup with this seat base. Ventilation again on the bottom. All materials used tend to last a lifetime. There's 2 batteries in this boat. Here's the main switch, but also these areas are accessible, and even here there's clean geocoat finish. I sometimes see boats again which are older, where this is mildew all over the place, dirty, with some grease or whatever, not on a Boston Whaler, and if it still does get dirty, you can still clean it. So a nice solution. There's a, we haven't shown that yet, but there's a white rub rail on the boat with a stainless steel insert. You can also have it in black, and obviously there's choices of whole colors. Even the graphics you can choose the color of. So there's many options. I'm sure there's quite a few I didn't mention. This boat has been equipped for a specific Dutch customer, but check the option list on the Boston Whaler website and you'll see all the options. I think it's time now to take her out on the water, so let me just get to the console, start her up and take her out for a spin. We just crossed the lake because there's quite a strong wind, which reminded me that this boat actually is self-bailing, and that is an important feature for me on any boat because it offers you safety. If you end up getting a wave in the cockpit in really rough conditions, the water drains out immediately. Not only that, it makes the boat easier. You see the two big holes right there. So if again a wave comes in, the water drains out quickly. And not only that, it makes it a relatively simple wash and go boat. So if you have the boat at the dock and you haven't been on the boat for a month or so and it's relatively dirty, you just rinse it off, water drains out and off you go. So that makes it easy. And another thing I forgot, it is a beautiful day today. I think we'll have 25 degrees or so later during the day, which is a day on which you go swimming. Let me take off my sunglasses in the meantime, sorry about that. And if you do some swimming in salt water or if the water is slightly dirty, you want to rinse off. So there's also an option to have a shower on the transom. With that, let me start up, well, taking the boat onto plane. We're doing around 1000 RPM at the moment, around 7 kilometers an hour. I am sitting down, even though I'd rather stand up, but I'm doing that because of the audio and the strong wind. I may take the backrest up a bit so that I'm more sheltered. This is a nice way to drive in small areas, which we have a lot of in the Netherlands, going in between islands, small canals and rivers. But obviously it is a planing boat and you want to do some water skiing, wakeboarding and everything. So let me gently take her up to plane. Again, this is a V8. This 220 Dauntless can also be equipped with a V6 200 and I think by heart also the 225. But this has a V8, which I think is the ideal combination. Plenty of power, smooth engine, again with the advanced midsection. So very low vibration and harshness, very smooth, very silent and comfortable. Doing 1700 RPM and I'm picking up speed to take her up to plane. This boat is also equipped with trim tabs, by the way, which can be quite practical in certain conditions. If, for example, the boat would be leaning against the wind, which happens in many cases if you drive alongside the wind, you'd want to trim one side. Let me just do it on purpose now. You see that they actually work really well. Let me take her back. On some boats, such as the whalers in the Montauk family, I really don't think you need trim tabs, but on a Dauntless it can be very practical. We're doing 3200 RPM, 37-ish kilometers an hour. This actually is a nice cruising speed across the IJsselmeer, for example. But of course, we can go much faster. Let me take her further up. Trim tabs are fully trimmed up. We also use the trim of the engine a bit. And we're doing 47 kilometers an hour now. Really smooth. Doesn't feel like we're really speeding. Traveling long distances in a relatively short time. So let me do like this because of the audio and take up some further speed. 4,500 RPM, 58 kilometers an hour, and full speed is this 65, 70, 72, 76 kilometers an hour, 77. It's really fast. Let me take down the speed a bit and do some tight turns also. Still doing. Let me take her down to around 50, 53. Here we go. Hang on. Really tight turn without any problem. No vibration, nothing. Really smooth. It feels very, very reliable. Really handles like a dream. I'd love to take a boat. A lot of people comment below our videos that they want us to make a film in really rough conditions, but the problem there is audio and the drone, so I'm sorry, that won't be possible. But really don't believe me, check reviews on any Boston whaler of people who actually own one. They're usually really positive. But the best way to experience it is to come to our marina and try it yourself. So you're gladly invited at the showroom of Campers Watersport. But for now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in one of our next videos, or better yet, on the water. See you.